Hi, I'm Amy Noel, owner of Sugar Flower Cake Shop in New York City. I teach the online course, Modern Elegant Sugar Flowers, where I show cake decorators how to create beautiful sugar flowers that are featured on wedding and other specialty cakes. It's an extended version of a class I've taught in Martha Stewart's Test Kitchen. If you're serious about making sugar flowers that look like the real thing, you want to check out my online course. In this video, I'll show you how to make sugar berries for your sugar flower arrangements. In order to make Brunia berries, I need a teeny tiny little bit of gum paste. So I just have a little bit. When you're making berries, we're going to be making a collection of just little balls of gum paste on a wire. Now, the wire though, I've bent over the top of my wire so it looks like the eye of a needle. And that's going to make sure that the gum paste sticks. When I go to make my berry, I want a tiny bit of gum paste. I'd say that most beginner sugar flower makers tend to use too much gum paste, so take what you have and probably split it in half, and that will be maybe the right size. If you need to, you can always just pinch off even a little bit more. I'm rolling that in my hand just around to make a nice smooth ball. So I'll dip the hooked end of my wire into my edible glue and brush off the extra on the back of my hand. I like to hold my little berry in my hand. I try not to hold it between my fingers. I find if I hold it between my fingers, my berry just gets squished. But if I hold it in my hand, I can just insert the wire carefully into the berry. I want to push the wire in far enough so that the hook part starts to disappear, but not so far that it starts to pop out on the other side. And from there, I can just pinch the hole closed that I made with the wire and just make sure that it comes back to a nice round shape, pinching and pushing and pressing just a little bit, round and round and round, and that will make a nice round shape. And each of my berries is going to have to dry overnight before I can add the pollen on the outside. So the first day that I'm working on berries, I'll do a whole bunch of these. We might even do 100 at a time. So since these need to dry overnight, on my first day of making berries, I'll make a whole bunch of different berries. So as you're making your berries, you really want to vary the size of your berries. I think it makes your spray look a bit more realistic. So some of them might be a little bit bigger, and also make sure to make a couple of teeny tiny ones, almost like they're little tiny buds, but just take a look and make sure you have a variety of sizes so that your arrangements look more realistic. There, I've made 6 berries, and this, remember, would be just enough for one spray, but these are going to need to dry overnight before we go to put our pollen on top. I'm just going to move this out of my way, and so I want to mix up my pollen. Now, when I go to mix my pollen, I'm calling it pollen, but it's really not pollen, it's just sugar. I'm using a natural cane sugar, but you can use a white sugar or whatever kind of sugar you have. And I'm going to add a little bit of petal dust to my sugar to get the color that I want. Brunia berries have a little bit of a gray tone, and they're also, I think, like a little bit sparkly. So I have some super pearl and also some charcoal petal dust. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of that into my sugar and just mix it up. This part is going to make it a little bit more gray with the charcoal, and then by adding the super pearl, it's going to make it a little sparkly as well. You can decide how much or how little you want. You'll just mix it up and you'll see what the color looks like. I think I'm gonna make mine a little bit more gray, so I'll add just a little more charcoal petal dust. I think that'll work. Now, these berries on my left have dried overnight and they're now rock hard. You can hear that. I'm gonna take my berry and dip it into, completely submerge it into my edible glue. That means I'm gonna get the whole entire thing wet, even maybe a little bit of the top of the wire. And I wanna roll it around. I roll the piece through between my fingers, roll the wire between my fingers to make sure that all of the piece is completely covered. And then I have one of my Brunia berries. I'm gonna repeat that with all of the different berries. This is such a super easy process. If you wanted to, instead of making a Brunia berry, you could make mimosa just by coloring the sugar yellow instead of a silvery gray. Or you can get fancy with all sorts of different colors. There are many different berries that you'll find, and a lot of them have these little, they look like pollen or seeds on the outside, and that's really the look that we're going for here. So I'll put my pollen on my last berry, and I want to then arrange it in sprays. So I'm going to grab some green floral tape, and when I'm making a spray of berries, I like to put 6 berries to a spray. You can make your sprays as full or as sparse as you want, but I really like when there's 6 different pieces. So I'm just going to group them into a cluster and grab my floral tape and just wrap it around at the base of the wires. I don't want to go up too high because I want to have the flexibility to be able to open the spray when I have, but I've just folded over the little tab to make sure that my floral tape can stick to itself. It really only sticks to itself. It doesn't stick to anything else. But then I just spin the wires in my hand and I'm just wrapping around the base of the wire, kind of like a barber's pole, just spinning and pushing. And you'll notice some of the sugar may fall off. That's totally okay. The rest of the color will stick to the pieces. And when I get to the bottom, I can just pinch off the rest of the tape. And this will give me 1 insertion point into my cake. But what I can do to make this look more like a little spray is to just bend out the wires. And you can decide how close or how far away you want your spray, but just I like to give a little bit of space in between. Usually I'll have like 1 in the middle and then the other 5 kind of around the outside, but you can decide how intricate you want to get with the bending of your wires. So that's how you make sugar berries. For a complete course on how to make sugar flowers like a pro, including professional cake decorators' secrets for arranging them on a cake, please check out my online course, Modern Elegant Sugar Flowers.